Welcome students, greeting of the day. In today's lecture we are going to cover design of retaining wall. So the design of retaining wall belongs to unit number 4 of SDD 3. In this lecture we are going to cover definition and types of retaining wall, pressure distribution diagrams for the retaining wall, and design step for the retaining wall design. Okay, so let's begin. So what is the meaning of retaining wall? A reinforced concrete retaining wall is defined as structural element used with the primary purpose of retaining some material on one or both the side of the wall. In some situations, the retaining wall may support vertical loads. In most of the cases, in practical, retaining walls are used to retain the soil at a different level on either side. Retaining walls are widely employed at the end of bridges in the form of abutment. The retaining wall, while retaining the earth on one side, is subjected to lateral pressure tending to bend, overturn, and slide the retaining wall. It means that when we are going to design the retaining wall, we should consider these factors. Means we need to check our retaining wall design against the overturning and sliding. So this will be more clear when we see the pictures of some retaining wall. So here I have collected some pictures. So this vertical structure is going to call as the retaining wall, and this is going to maintain the level, different levels on the one side and other side of it. So this is the cofferdam type retaining wall. Here we directly use the metal plate to retain the soil on one end. So this is the another example of retaining wall. See here, on the one side of the bank, on the one side of this retaining wall, we have the road, and another side we have the hilly area. To avoid the landslide, we have this retaining wall. Next, again, this is the similar to the roadside retaining wall to maintain the level difference. So see here, because of this vertical portion in both the, if you see these three cases, because of this vertical structure, it is possible to maintain the levels at higher and lower. Okay, so this is only possible because of this vertical structure or the retaining wall structure, because when we have the heap of the soil or the sand, it is not going to maintain because it has its natural slope. But to maintain the vertical difference within the less area, we should go for the retaining walls. There are some other pictures too. So see here. So this is again the example of retaining wall. So this retaining wall is constructed with the help of stones, and it will work under the gravity. So this is again the retaining wall with stones. I have collected few more slides. So this is the retaining wall constructed with the help of RCC, with the help of stones. So this is what the RCC cantilever type retaining wall, which we are going to design in our syllabus. So in our syllabus we are only going to design the cantilever retaining wall. Under the heading of this cantilever retaining wall, we are going to design T-shaped cantilever retaining wall and L-shaped cantilever retaining wall, RCC retaining wall, with the help of IS 456 2000 clauses. Okay. So this is again cofferdam made up with the help of metal sheets. So see here. So this is what the abutment of the road, and for this we have constructed the vertical wall so that it will maintain the level of upper and lower floors of the bridge. So this is the construction of retaining wall for the road construction. Again, so this is the again example of L-shaped cantilever retaining wall. So this is the vertical. So it basically it has got two basic part: vertical stem and this bottom slab. So if we have the T shape, we have two slab, and if we have a L shape, then we have only one slab at the bottom. Okay. So if we see the various parts of it, or how the cantilever retaining wall is going to retain the load. So see here, so this is the vertical structure, this is the T-shape RCC retaining wall. So this vertical part we are going to call as the stem, and this bottom portion we are going to call as the base slab. So again, this base slab is divided into heel slab and toe slab. At one end of this, it is going to retain the gravel backfill, and on the other end it is going to maintain the level. Okay, so at one end we have the higher level, at one end we have the lower level. So in between these retaining, so this is the cross section of retaining wall. We can see the weep hole over here. So this weep hole is for the drainage of water, means during the rainy season the water will percolate inside this backfill, and it is going to increase the load or the pressure on the retaining wall. So to reduce that, it is necessary to drain off that water, and for that reason the weep holes were provided. Okay, and also to give the strength to this retaining wall, we are going to put the reinforcement in that, because we know that concrete is very strong in compression but it is weak in tension, and because of this cantilever action, one of the part of this retaining wall or one of the side of this retaining wall is under tension, and to take that tension safely we need to provide the reinforced steel. Okay, so this is what the components. It is very simple actually. It has got only two components, and in the design of retaining wall actually we are going to design the cantilever slab. Okay, so stem also we are going to design as this cantilever slab, and the base slab, that is toe or heel, that also we are going to design as the cantilever slab, cantilever RCC slab. Okay, so this is again illustrated in the broad manner. So vertical component is nothing but the stem, weep holes we have, reinforcement steel. At bottom we have the heel slab and toe slab, and this is about the backfill condition. Okay, so what are the other types? Because in our syllabus we are going to design the RCC cantilever retaining wall, but apart from that there are various types of retaining wall. Just we have seen before that in the pictures, there are so many types of retaining wall nowadays we are going to use for retaining the soil. So out of that, one of the type is the counter fort retaining wall. So this is just similar to the cantilever retaining wall, but only the difference is this portion. So this extra projected portion is available over here. So this we are going to call as the counter fort. Okay, so this counter fort structure. So this projected part is give more stability, means we go for the counter fort wall when that lateral pressures are much more. So to withstand that we need to provide this extra arrangement or extra support in the form of counter. So in counter fort retaining wall we provide these counter forts at the side of backfill. Okay, means at this end we are going to pour the backfill material, and other side is the flat. Okay, so on the backfill side we are going to provide the counter fort retaining wall, because in case of MCQ question in competitive exams or your university exam, they might ask in counter fort retaining wall what is the position of this counter fort. So counter fort position is on the side of backfill. Okay, so this is what the counter fort, this projected part we are going to call as counter fort, this vertical we are going to call as the stem, this is the toe slab, and this is the heel slab. Okay, next we have the buttress wall. Again, question may arise in mind, this is just similar to the counter fort. Yes, the structure is similar to the counter fort, but the position of that supporting pole is on the opposite side. Means if we see the schematic sketch of that, so see here, so this buttresses retaining wall, this is what the stem of the retaining wall, this is the toe slab. So these buttresses were provided on the opposite side. Means see here, here we have the counter fort wall and here we have the buttress wall. So where we are provided the counter fort, we have provided the counter fort on the backfill side, okay, and we provided the buttresses on the opposite side means we are not going to provide it opposite to the backfill. So this is what the basic difference between the counter fort and buttress, because many times students get confused what is the what is the basic difference. So counter fort, do remember, in counter fort retaining wall we provide the counter fort on the backfill side, and in buttress wall we provide the buttresses opposite to the backfill. Okay, so this is the difference. Now this is the typical retaining wall structures. Means this diagram typically shows how the pressure or how the load is acting on the structure. See here, in this first figure, this PA represents is the pressure, earth backfill pressure or the earth pressure on the retaining wall. So if we have the horizontal backfill, the pressure force is horizontal. If we have the inclined backfill with the inclination of I, so in that case this pressure force also changes its direction. Means it is going to act perpendicular to that, or it has some inclination, means whatever inclination of the backfill is there, with the same inclination that pressure force act. Okay, sometimes we have the backfill on the both the sides. So here on the upstream side, on the downstream side, here again upstream and downstream side we have the pressure. So this pressure on the downstream side we going to call as the passive pressure. So this is what the active pressure and passive pressure. Okay, so the terminology is related with the active pressure, passive pressure of the earth or the soil. We have studied in the geotechnical engineering. Okay, so in the next slide again we are going to revise all that concepts regarding to the active pressure and the passive pressure of the soil. Okay, next we are going to see that what is mean by active. Just we are just quickly revise what is mean by active earth pressure and passive earth pressure. So the active earth pressure, it occurs when the retaining walls move away from the backfill, means backfill pushes the wall away from it. So that we are going to call as the active pressure. Okay, so this active pressure, in this active pressure the soil yields due to the stretching and the plastic equilibrium condition takes place. The failure due to the active pressure, the failure in the failure due to the active pressure, the failure wedge moves downwards. Means as we have seen that, suppose this is what the retaining wall. So because of this active pressure or the pressure PA we can call it, because of this pressure it is going to move away. So suppose here what we have the backfill. So because of this backfill this wall is moving away. Okay, so this is what the active pressure. Now the failure plane of inclination, also this is again very important. The failure plane inclination is 45 plus phi by 2, where phi is the angle of internal friction of the soil which we use with the horizontal. So this is again important from the MCQ point of view. The failure plane inclination, what is the failure plane inclination with the horizontal in case of active earth pressure and passive earth pressure? So on the each point of this active pressure it represent one MCQ. Okay, so this is about the active earth pressure. Then we have the passive earth pressure. It occurs when the retaining wall move towards the backfill. So that might be the case. Okay, suppose this is what the retaining wall we have, and this is what the backfill soil, and the if the wall is moving towards this backfill, so this kind of pressure. So last time we have seen that when two materials are there, on one side we have the backfill, another side also we have the backfill. So because of this passive pressure, this wall may move towards right. Okay, so this phenomenon we are going to call as the passive pressure, means retaining wall is moving towards the backfill. Then the yielding of the soil occurs due to the compression, because already on this backfill side we have the material and the wall is moving towards that, means we are compressing that backfill material. So this yielding of the soil is due to the compression, whereas in this case what is going to happen, stretching, means tension is going to happen, means we are going to stretch that backfill material, means if the wall is moving on this side, so stretching takes place here, the stretching takes place, and here the compression takes place. Next point, the plastic equilibrium. Yes, both are going to follow the plastic equilibrium condition of failure. The failure wedge is moving upwards as the wall. So this failure wedge, the movement of this failure wedge is depends upon how the wall is going to move. Okay, so in first case the wall is moving away, so that's why the failure wedge also moving downward. So here the wall is moving upwards, means towards the backfill, so the failure wedge is also moving upward. Okay, now the failure plane inclination. So here the failure plane inclination is 45 minus pi by 2, because see here, so this is what the initial position. So we are reducing, means we are compressing the backfill over here. So this is what the initial position. I'll change the color. So see here, so this is what the initial position, and because of this compression, the wall is moving towards the backfill, means suppose this is what the angle. So this angle represents there is the reduction. Okay, so initial position we are just reducing that initial position, so 45 minus pi by 2. So you can remember in that fashion also, because 45 plus pi by 2, in this case the wall is moving in this fashion. I'll use another color for this. Okay, so in active pressure what is going to happen, the angle is going to increase. So angle is going to increase and angle is going to decrease. So this is what the original position. Okay, so this is active and this is passive. Okay, so this is what the brief of earth pressure. Because this earth pressure theory, you may thought that sir, we are studying structural design and drawing 3, we are not studying the geotechnical engineering, but this basic knowledge of geotechnical engineering is required for the designing of retaining wall. Okay, next, now we are going to see the pressure approach, how we are going to find out the magnitude of that pre-stressing force, how we are going to find out that magnitude of pressure force, how we are going to calculate. And to get the magnitude of the pressure force, we are going to use the Rankine's theory. So the Sir Rankine has developed an approach to find out the magnitude. So we get the pressure distribution with the help of this pressure distribution diagram. So this diagram is representing the active pressure distribution. So if we observe this diagram, the earth pressure at the top, suppose if we have a retaining wall, or if we have the retaining wall of the height h, okay, for h backfill, how the pressure distribution is there of that material or the backfill. So at the top, so that pressure distribution is uniformly varying pressure distribution we have, and at top that pressure distribution is 0, and at bottom we get the maximum pressure distribution, means triangular uniformly varying load we have studied in the mechanics SOM. So just like that, so this pressure, the earth pressure, is also the uniformly varying distribution. whose magnitude is 0 at the top and maximum at the bottom. And how we get the magnitude? So the Sir Rankin has given the magnitude of that bottom pre-stress, bottom passive pressure, active pressure, bottom active pressure or the earth pressure. What is that magnitude? Gamma into G into H into K. Okay, so where it's a rho is the density of that backfill material, G is the gravity constant, H is the height of the retaining wall, and K is the active coefficient of earth. What? K is nothing but the active coefficient of earth. Again, we need to study what is the meaning. We have studied that in the geotechnical engineering. Ka, Kp, K is the active coefficient of earth pressure, Kp is the passive coefficient of earth pressure, and the value of this K and Kp is depends on the phi value, that is angle of internal friction. So see here, in this case the value of that K or the K0 we can say is nothing but 1 minus sine phi divided by 1 plus sine phi. So this is nothing but the value of K, active coefficient of earth pressure. So when we have the horizontal backfill, so this is the diagram for horizontal backfill, means backfill material is horizontal over here. So when we have the backfill, horizontal backfill, then the value of K is 1 minus sine phi plus 1 plus sine phi. When we have the inclined backfill, the magnitude is going to change. Okay, the magnitude is going to change. Also in fluid mechanics also we have drawn some stress distribution diagram for the water, where what we have taken is, or in geotechnical engineering we have drawn many pressure distribution diagrams. Okay, so this rho gh into active coefficient of earth pressure, if we have the water, then the value of this Ka becomes 0. We don't have any value of Ka for that. So for water we have only rho gh, and here for active coefficient of earth pressure, as we have the backfill material, we need to multiply it by Ka. Okay, for water that value becomes unity. So this K, how we are going to find out the value of K? K is equal to, so pressure distribution diagram, the magnitude is rho gh into K, where rho is the density, G is the gravity constant, H is the height, and K is 1 minus sine phi divided 1 plus sine phi. This is for the horizontal backfill. Do remember this horizontal. In the coming slide I have included the formula for inclined backfill also. What is the modification in the value of that Ka or the K0? Okay, so this is what the active earth pressure, and this is the triangular. So this is what the pressure distribution diagram, but we need to convert this triangular pressure distribution diagram to a force. And how we are going to do that? We are going to form that, we are going to get the magnitude of that, or we can convert this distribution diagram to a force in strength of materials. Many times while drawing the SFD and BMD we did that. So how we do that? We find out the area of this diagram. So what is the area of this diagram? Half this, it's a triangle, so the area of triangle is what? Half. Base is what? Rho gh into K, rho gh into K, into height is h, so h into h, it's h square, so half rho gh, rho into g into h square into K, where K is coefficient of active earth pressure. So the vertical stress acting on the structure is rho g into h. Okay, so here Z, actually I have taken this formula from the reference book, so you can do the change over here, rho g into h, or Z is nothing but Z is equivalent to h over here. So the vertical stress value is rho gh, and if you want to find out the horizontal stress value, for the magnitude of horizontal stress value we need to consider this K or the K0, that is coefficient of active earth pressure. Okay, So just here I have put the values of K0, that is 1 minus sine phi, 1 plus sine phi, and this will give us the magnitude of active earth pressure. Okay, so this is what the pressure distribution. Rho d means here we consider that whatever backfill we have is the dry backfill. So rho into d I have considered over here. G is the gravity constant, Z is the depth, or we can use the letter K. We can use the letter H, and K already we have. So what is the basic relation between the active coefficient of earth pressure and passive coefficient of earth pressure? So they are inversely proportional to each other. Means the value of Kp means they are reverse of each other. The value of Kp is nothing but 1 upon K. Means separately we need not find out the value of K and Kp. Once we get the value of K, we will get the value of Kp, or once we have the value of Kp, we can calculate the value of Ka. So do remember that. P here P is what the pressure values. So this formula gives us the pressure. Okay, and the area of this diagram is gives us the force. So this is what the basic difference. So you should know what is the force and what is the pressure. So this entire diagram represents the pressure distribution diagram, and the area of this pressure distribution diagram gives us the force. Regarding pressure, Sir Rankine has put forth one theory that the active pressure, this is what the normal pressure or the zero pressure we can say. So active pressure, normal pressure, and passive pressure. So the normal pressure is always greater than the active pressure, and the passive pressure is more greater than the active pressure and the normal pressure. So based on this, again this is important for MCQ. Okay, so the pressure value, the maximum pressure value is of passive pressure, because it is huge amount of power is required to push the wall towards the backfill, because under the weight of under the pressure of soil it is very easy, or many times whatever failures where occur, you might have observed that on the opposite side of backfill, the wall because of the backfill, the wall is moving away from the backfill. So that's why the P value is less and the PP value is more. Okay, so this is what the pressure means. How we are going to take means, and this PA value is we are going to consider for the designing. Means whatever overturning is there or the sliding is there, for that we are going to take this value of capital PA, that is nothing but the area of pressure distribution diagram. Okay, so this is what the pressure distribution theory, and how we are going to get the pressure distribution, okay, of the backfill. Next, here again this is what the pressure distribution, how here in this diagram I have covered the various types of backfill conditions. Means what is going to happen when we have the in previous case, as I said that the backfill is dry backfill. Sometimes it is not like that. There are various conditions of the soil. So sometimes we have the surcharge pressure, sometimes we have the water inside the backfill, means saturated water we have. Okay, so for every condition that pressure distribution diagram is going to change. So whenever we have the surcharge, so actually this diagram it's a unique diagram. Means this single diagram gives us the all types of pressure distributions over here, because see here pore pressure means this is nothing but inside the pores we have the water. So when we have the water, what will be the pressure distribution? Rho W. Here for pore pressure we are considering the water. So when we have the water up to the depth H, then the pressure distribution diagram for that is rho GH. Here rho is nothing but the density of water we have considered, G into H. Okay, then here rho B into G into K. So this is for the regular soil. Okay, regular soil. And when we have the surcharge, means surcharge is nothing but means we are this is what the extra type of load. irrespective of your backfill. Means up to this level we have the backfill. In addition to that backfill, if we have some other material we are pouring over there or the keeping over here, so that will act as the surcharge. And even if we are keeping that load at the top only, it is going to distribute on the entire area evenly. So this is what the distribution for this surcharge. If we have the surcharge, you can see that surcharge distribution is uniform. It is not uniformly varying. It's a uniform because it is going to kept at the top. So from top to bottom it is distributed evenly, and the magnitude of that surcharge pressure is magnitude of surcharge Q. Many times we have that value of Q in kilonewton per meter square, and K is what the active earth pressure, coefficient of active earth pressure. So this is what the diagram which gives us the water pressure, soil pressure as well as the surcharge pressure. So this is what is in a single diagram. I tried to cover all types of pressure distributions, okay, but if it is not clear to you, again I have covered one by one pressure distribution diagrams, because in university exam they are going to ask the question on the pressure distribution diagram. Okay, draw the pressure distribution diagram for 1, 2, 3, 4 cases were given, and for each case they give the 2 marks, or sometimes now in MCQs also they might be asked on the pressure distribution diagram. Okay, so this is what the general pressure distribution I have shown for pore water pressure, earth as well as the surcharge. Now we'll see individually one by one how that pressure distribution diagrams we are going to draw. So the very first case is for the dry sample. Here we have the cantilever retaining wall, T shape, and backfill, horizontal backfill we have, and sample whatever we have, whatever material we have on this side. This is what the dry means. The unit weight is gamma D. Okay, if we have the dry or the moist, sometimes we have the moist. Okay, so whatever we have, that means means it is saturated water level is absent over here in this case. So if water is not there, only the soil is there with some gamma D or gamma, then what will be the pressure distribution diagram? Yes, the pressure distribution diagram is triangular in shape. Okay, then what is this? We know that at top we have the magnitude is 0 and it is maximum at the bottom. What is that formula? What is the pressure formula? K gamma into H. Okay, now here rho and G together we have taken as the gamma. Okay, so instead of rho and G we have taken as the gamma. So K into gamma into H. So K is the active pressure, gamma is the unit weight of the material, H is the height. So this is what the pressure distribution diagram, triangular pressure distribution diagram, K gamma into H. Okay, and if we convert that pressure to a force, so the pink color is shown for the PA, active pressure force. So that force is nothing but the area of this triangle. Half base is K into gamma into H, into height is H, so H gets H square. So this will give us the PA force. Now do remember that the position of it, because in the designing when we are going to check this retaining wall for the overturning, we take the moment about this point. At this point at toe we are going to find out the overturning moment, and during that we require this distance of PA from this end. So we know that in mechanics we have studied that for triangular the resultant weight is at a distance of h by 3 from the base and 2h by 3 from the tip. So from base we have the distance h by 3. So if you want to find out the moment at the toe, how we get the moment? What is moment first? Moment is nothing but the force into perpendicular distance. What is the magnitude of force? Force is the PA. and perpendicular distance is h by 3. So Pa into h by 3 is what the moment of this pressure force about toe, about this end here, the moment at this end here, okay, or here you can see. So this is the first pressure distribution diagram for the dry or the moist soil if we have with horizontal backfill. Now the second case, the pressure distribution diagram for the submerged soil, means soil is under water. Okay, so here you can see the two diagrams I have selected. Okay, so both diagrams are same. Okay, but approaches are different. Means whatever approach of drawing the pressure distribution diagram is different. Means in first case we have the separate pressure distribution diagram for the soil and water, and in second diagram we together drawn the pressure distribution diagram for soil and water. This is only the difference, but both are same. Means if you have referred in geotechnical engineering, if you have referred the various reference books, so in some books they consider together the pressure distribution, and in some books separately they have drawn the diagrams. So it's up to you. So that's why both approaches I have taken. So first approach we will see first. So in this here, so see here the backfill is submerged under water, means water level is at the tip, means at the top level we have the level of water as well as the soil, means two things are there, soil and water. So we need to draw this pressure distribution diagram for the soil, plus we'll draw the pressure distribution diagram for water. So for soil, what is the pressure at the top? Pressure at the top is 0, okay, and pressure at the bottom Ka into gamma into H. So Ka soil, if we have the soil, then we have the Ka value, and this gamma represent the unit weight of soil. So Ka into gamma into H, this is what the one pressure diagram we have. Again if we convert into the area of triangle half base into height, we get the Pa1, and the position is h by 3. Now plus in addition to that we have the water at the top level, means the water pressure is also 0 at the top and maximum at the bottom, and the magnitude of that is gamma W into H, means the Ka part we have not included over here. Okay, means active coefficient of earth pressure we are not considering for the water. Do remember that is Ka is not there for the water, always remember. Okay, so gamma W, why gamma W? Because water pressure distribution diagram is there, so unit weight of water into H. Again if you find out the area of this triangle half base into height, we get the Pa2. Again the position of both is same, because water pressure level, because water level is at the top. If that water level is in between here, then the diagram the height for this pressure distribution diagram is going to change. So that case is also there, we are going to study in the next slide. Okay, so Pa1, Pa2 and moment, how we calculate the moment of both forces we need to consider. So Varignon's theorem, hope you remember that moment of resultant force about any point is always equal to summation of moment of component forces about that point. So the same thing we are going to use. So instead of calculating, so the resultant moment of the pressure force is nothing but moment of Pa1 about the toe plus moment of Pa2 about the toe. Okay, so here we have that toe. So what is the moment? Pa1 into h by 3, Pa plus Pa2, because directions anti-clockwise direction, here we are going to consider it as a positive. Okay, so Pa1. Okay, so this is what the pressure distribution diagram, and in this the same thing is explained. So see here, instead of drawing two diagrams, at one Ka into gamma into H, means this is the triangular pressure distribution diagram for the soil, and gamma W into H is the triangular pressure distribution diagram for water. Okay, the same thing is there, But we can see here, while calculating the value of PA, what they did means they have considered here, the entire triangle is considered, means area, what is the area of this entire triangle? Half base, what they consider, base is nothing but Ka into gamma into H plus gamma W into H. So this is what the base, and height is H, and all together that gives us the value of PA, and the position we know that H by 3 from the base, and from that calculated the moment. But the magnitude in both the cases we get the same, so it's up to you. So here 2 times moment we need to calculate, and here we get the moment single time, means this second approach will save our time of calculations. So that is what. So this is the third case of pressure distribution diagram for retaining wall. So in this third case, the soil is partially submerged, means some portion of this backfill soil is under water and some portion is above that water level. So because of this situation, the gamma value for the soil is going to vary, means for the upper layer the gamma value is different, and for the bottom layer the value of gamma is different, okay, because it is going to affect by water pressure. Okay, so to draw the pressure distribution for this, we are going to divide this backfill soil into 3 zones. One is the soil above the water level. Second, the soil pressure distribution diagram for the soil for below the water level, and third, pressure distribution diagram is for water. Okay, so first we draw the pressure distribution diagram for the soil above the water level. Now for the above water level means we'll get the intensity, 0 intensity of pressure at the top, and we'll get the maximum intensity at this end, means at the position of water level. And what is that magnitude of pressure? Ka1 gamma into H1. Now Ka1 is what? Active coefficient of earth pressure above in the above region. Okay, and this is what the pressure distribution diagram, and this upper soil layer becomes as act as a surcharge for the remaining soil pressure. So up to water level the distribution is uniformly varying, and below this level it is going to act uniformly, means it is going to act as a surcharge for the lower layer. So that's why we are going to continue this pressure diagram up to the bottom with the magnitude K1 gamma into H1. Okay, so this is what the pressure distribution diagram for the upper layer of soil. Now the second pressure distribution diagram is for the lower layer of the soil. So for the lower layer, again Ka2 into gamma into H2, means if the phi value is going to change, we take that Ka2 gamma into H2 is the maximum intensity, and this pressure, because it is going to start from this end, so initial intensity is 0, and it is nothing but the triangular pressure distribution diagram. From this we get the magnitude of force for the pressure of below soil, below the submerged level, is K2 into gamma into H2. So this is what the intensity. How we get the force? Area of this triangle, half K2 gamma into H2. Here the height is H2. So do remember, here we haven't considered the total height for this. Okay, so we only consider the H2 into half base into height. So PA3 gives us the magnitude of pressure force due to the bottom soil. So PA1 is the pressure force due to the soil above the water level. So PA2, and this PA2 means the pressure initial pressure diagram. The pressure diagram for the upper layer soil is again divided into two parts. Means this distribution is uniform distribution, uniformly varying distribution up to water level, and from that it is the uniform distribution. So here this diagram we can convert into two parts. One is the triangular portion and another is the rectangular portion, and we'll find out the magnitude of force separately for triangle and rectangle. For triangle again half base into height, and for rectangle the area, how we get the area, height into width. So width is K1, gamma into H1, height is H2, so that will give us the force PA2. So PA1, PA2, PA3, and last the pressure distribution diagram for the water. The water level is started from H2, means from this end, so the pressure distribution is 0 at the top, and at bottom gamma W into H2, means K value is absent. Yes, K value is not there for the water. Okay, the area is nothing but the PA4, half base is gamma W into H2, and height is H2, and in this way we will get the magnitude of all forces. Now to get the magnitude, we just need to multiply this force by their position. So for triangle, this position for triangle, for this position is total height is H2, so H2 by 3. Okay, so this is again same for H2 by 3. So the moment of PA4 is PA4 into H. So you just do the correction. This is H2 by 3. Again PA3, for PA3 also the same, because we are taking the moment at this end, at toe level we are taking the moment, so it is necessary to do that change. So PA3 into H2 by 3, PA4 into H2 by 3. So the moment of PA3 and PA4 is over. Now the moment of PA1 and PA2. Now the moment of PA2. So from base we know that from base the distance is H by 3. So here H is H1. So H1 by 3. H1 by 3 is the distance of PA2 from the water level, but we want the moment at toe. So that lever arm or perpendicular distance is nothing but addition of H1 by 3 plus H2. H1 by 3 plus H2. So H1 by 3 plus H2 into PA1 is the moment of PA1, and what remain is the moment of this rectangular portion. We know that the position of resultant for rectangle is acting at the half. So PA2, total distance or the total height of rectangle is H2, so half of that means H2 by 2 into PA2 is the moment. Okay, so this is just similar to this one. Instead of dividing the different areas, we are taking that area together. Means here see here the faint blue line shows the pressure distribution diagram for the upper soil. These blue lines represent the pressure distribution diagram for the lower layer soil, and this red color pressure distribution diagram shows the pressure distribution diagram for water. Okay, and here if you want to find out values of PA1, PA2, PA3 and PA4, now we cannot take all together, means moment. Okay, because we don't know the exact position of this, so that's why separately we need to find out the moment for this, but we can find out the value of resultant force as the addition of PA1, PA2, PA3 and PA4. So in this type of cases it is recommended to go for this separate method, because it will avoid the complications in the calculations. Okay, So this is what the third pressure distribution diagram we discussed over here. Again, if you are not getting anything from this, you can call me or you can text me. Now the fourth is the pressure distribution diagram for the uniform surcharge soil. Means here horizontal backfill is there, and above that backfill we have the surcharge of magnitude W. So we know that surcharge distribution diagram in the very first slide of distribution diagram, in which all type of forces I have shown. Over that, the surcharge distribution diagram is always rectangular. So the surcharge distribution diagram is rectangular over here. And magnitude is what? K into gamma into He. Okay, He, what is the value of He? He is equal to W divided by gamma. Or else directly you can get this magnitude as surcharge pressure P W S, surcharge pressure as magnitude of surcharge into K. Okay, so we can directly take this surcharge pressure as W into K. Okay, see here, W is what? If we take this gamma on this side, we'll get the value of W as gamma into He. Okay, so gamma into He into K is nothing but surcharge into K. Directly we'll get the pressure distribution for that, the magnitude of pressure, which is uniform. And in addition to that, we have the backfill. Suppose that backfill is dry backfill or the moist backfill, so it will give just the triangular distribution, 0 at the top and at bottom K into gamma into H. And in this way we'll get the pressure distribution diagram for this. So here again it's a combination of triangle and rectangle. So we need to convert that triangular area to one force and rectangular area to second force, and we'll find out the magnitude of rectangular area as area of rectangle, height into width. So width is K into gamma into He, and height is H. Okay, or W into K. Instead of that we can, or else we can, what we can use, that is equal to pressure is W into K, where W is nothing but the surcharge, into H. This also we can use instead of this K gamma into He, if you don't want to calculate this value of He then. But from online point of view, they might be asked the question on He. Okay, and the second distribution is triangular. So the area is half is what? Half base is K into gamma into H, into height is H, so H into H square. So this is what the so into H by 3 is not there. Okay, into H by 3 is not there, so this is up to this only. Okay, K gamma into H by 2, half base. Okay, half base into height. And the moment for this, so for moment calculation we have the two forces PA1 and PA2. So moment of PA1 is what? PA1 into H by 2, because PA1 is acting as rectangle of height H. So the lever arm for that is half of H, means H by 2. And for triangular portion, the pressure distribution diagram is moment is force PA2 into H by 3 from base H by 3. So in this way we will get the moment for pressure distribution diagram under surcharge load with horizontal backfill. And here is again a typical case we have selected when we have the two different types of soil, because Ka value is depends on the value of Y, that is in strength. In geotechnical engineering we studied that angle of internal friction, phi. Okay, so that phi, if the soil changes, the value of phi is also going to change. So suppose if I have two different layer of soil, if different soils we have, so in that case the pressure distribution diagram is different. In this case the initial value of phi is 30, then the distribution diagram is triangular, and it is going to continue as it is for the bottom layer soil, because it is going to act as a surcharge for this. So for this reason we have taken the value of that as Ka2. For bottom layer, what we are not going to continue with Ka1. Okay, so Ka2 into gamma 1 into H1. So this is again important fact we need to remember. When the upper layer of the soil is act as a surcharge for the lower layer, and if the phi value is different, then we used to select the value of Ka2 instead of Ka1. And the pressure distribution diagram for the bottom layer soil is again triangular. Ka2 we will select Ka2 into gamma 2 into H2. Okay, so this is when we have the two different layer of soil, and we can calculate the moment. How we are going to calculate the moment? First of all, we need to find out the area of this triangle. We may call this as PA1. Okay, PA1. We can take the, or we can convert this rectangular area into force PA2, and we can convert this triangular area into PA3. And how we get the moments? So moment M0 is equal to PA1 into now where we want to take the moment? We want to take the moment at this position 2. So that perpendicular distance is H2 plus, perpendicular distance is H2 plus H1 divided by 3. H2 plus H1 divided by 3. So this is what the perpendicular distance. Next, the moment for PA2 is the rectangle. So PA2 into H by 2, H2 by 2, sorry, PA2 H2 by 2, and the moment for last is PA3 into H2 by 3. In this way we can calculate the moment for different layer of soil backfill pressure. Okay, now the last pressure distribution diagram. If we have the inclined type of backfill, as I told you that the value of K is going to change for the inclined backfill. So whenever we have the inclined backfill, the value of, so initially what we have seen, the value of K1 is equal to 1 minus cosine of phi divided by 1 plus cosine of phi, but here that formula is different. So when we have the inclined backfill, okay, and that inclination is suppose alpha, then the value of K is cosine of alpha into bracket cosine of alpha minus square root of cosine of alpha square minus cosine of phi square divided by cosine of alpha plus in bracket in square root of cosine of alpha square minus cosine of phi square. And the pressure see here, the pressure distribution diagram is at an inclination of alpha, means whatever angle inclination. So we'll take that inclination. After that we'll draw horizontal line, then we'll draw the pressure distribution diagram like this. So this is what the angle 90 degree over here. Okay, so how we are going to calculate this height? So this height is nothing but the h. So here we take the total height h. So many times when it is not given what will be the height, so we can get that total h as, suppose this is what the initial height hi. So again we need to calculate this height h2. So hi, so h, capital H is equal to hi plus h2. So how we get the h2? We know this distance. So during the design we are going to decide this distance. Suppose this is what the x, then this vertical distance becomes x cosine of opposite side means sine, h sine x sine of alpha, h2 is equal to x sine alpha, x sine alpha, x sine alpha is the distance. So in this way we are going to calculate the value of capital H, Ka value we can calculate. Now the remaining theory is same. What is the base is what the Ka into gamma into H. So Ka, here the value is Ka, gamma is unit weight for the backfill into H, here the H is this total H. Okay, so this is what the pressure distribution magnitude, and the area of this triangle gives us the value of Pa. So half is 2 is there, base is Ka into gamma into H is nothing but the Pa value. Okay, if we want to find out the moment, we must require the perpendicular distance, right? So to get that perpendicular distance, so here directly we cannot get the perpendicular distance, so for that reason we need to resolve this Pa along horizontal and along vertical. We need to resolve it, and we know that this angle I is alpha, so the horizontal component is Pa cosine of alpha, horizontal component is Pa cosine of alpha. Okay, so here Pa cosine, actually this 2 is for this 2. Okay, so this is not alpha by 2, so don't get confused. So cosine alpha is different. Okay, so Pa cosine alpha is the horizontal component and Pa sine alpha is vertical component, and once we have horizontal and vertical, we can find out the moment at this end. Okay, so in this way we can find out the values of horizontal pressure force for any type of backfill using the basic theory of geotechnical engineering, right? So in the next lecture we are going to solve actual numerical